Hi, I'm Damie John. So today we're going to talk about spiritual awakening, science of spiritual awakening and what is it in reality. And in the beginning, I have to say that I had the spike of spiritual awakening and I will tell you about this in this video. But I'm not a big fan of the idea that spiritual awakening has to happen at one moment. Because it may look like it happens to somebody at one moment, but before that moment, there was a lot of work. Hours, days, years of work. And then something special happens. Something special can happen to you if you just change your life, if you just change your way of living. Of course, if you, for example, just move to the other city or even country, or if you just divorce to give birth or something else, of course, at this moment, all your life changes. But we're talking about external changes. Something outside of you changes. It influences on you, or it doesn't. And spiritual awakening is the internal change. Because spiritual awakening goes from inside of your body and it goes from inside of your soul. Let's take a look closer how it happens. Bright example is Buddha. His birth name was Siddhārtha Gautama. And let me remind you his story. In overview, his life looks like he did nothing. He was very rich and he enjoyed his life for first 35 years. And then something special happened and he became an awakened person. And his name, Buddha, means awakened. Here is his real story. When Siddhārtha was born, a man named Asita predicted he would either become the greatest king of the world or become a supreme religious leader. And then one time when Siddhārtha was 35, he used to feel some discomfort and he didn't like his lifestyle. So once he said to his closest servant Channa to ride across the city. And when they were riding, all of a sudden Siddhārtha noticed some old man by the side of the road. And he said to Channa to stop and asked him, "What is it? What's wrong with that man?" Channa said, "It's just an old man. He lost his hair and his teeth, his skin has wrinkles and his body is bent because of age, so what's wrong with him?" And Channa said, and Siddhārtha said, "Will I be an old man?" Channa said, "Unfortunately, everybody's getting old. It doesn't matter, you are rich or poor, it happens to everybody." And Siddhārtha kept silent. He was deeply shocked. It was his first time he saw anility. And a couple of days later, when Siddhārtha was in downtown, he saw a young man lying in the street. He was writhing with pain. And Siddhārtha asked Channa, "What's going on to that boy?" Channa said, "This boy is ill. He's in pain. Such is life." And it was his first time he saw, he understood that illnesses happen to people. And Siddhārtha realized that life is very fragile thing. And soon after that, Siddhārtha saw the last offices of somebody. He saw how the corpse was delivered to some special place where relatives were going to burn the body according to tradition. And Siddhārtha was faced to death. And he realized that death is unavoidable. And he asked himself how a human being can understand the meaning of life. Life that makes people older, has a lot of illnesses and must finish by death. How a human being can be happy and take pleasure living the life. And Siddhārtha lost his peace. And he began to think about it all the time. And suddenly he saw a homeless man. He was walking in the street. And he was dressed in tatters and he had a cup for alms. And at that moment, Siddhārtha perceived what he had to do. He had to leave his family, richness, and power. And he had to become the same homeless, holy man. And he had to commit himself to search for truth. Truth that can bring the disengagement from annihilaty, illnesses, and death. And Siddhārtha said to his father what he was going to do, and his father said no. And his father set more guards on his son's castle. Then Siddhārtha woke up in the middle of the night, left his family. He met a hunter who was dressed like a vagabond, and he offered to him to change their clothes. Then he cut his hair by an axe. He said bye to Chana, and he gave him a letter to his father. And then Siddhārtha left his castle in the darkness of night. So this is the beginning of his awakening. And Siddhārtha was so it happened to him. He was getting ready for it, and it didn't happen to him incidentally. So it was the beginning of his awakening. So what is spiritual awakening? Actually, in opposite of spiritual growth, spiritual awakening is the productive term, and spiritual growth is the process term. So spiritual awakening is the change in quality of mentality. And spiritual growth is the progressive improvement of quality of mentality. Because spiritual awakening term sounds like result, like something already done, because it's the change in quality of mentality. So, in the meantime, I think everybody had or will have their own spiritual awakening. I mean, everybody who sets up themselves as spiritual people. And my spiritual awakening happened when I was 21. And before that moment, I had some special insight about my future. And I asked myself, who do I want to be? Who I want to be in my life? Because I am a human being, not a human doing. Then who do I want to be? And I was telling the truth myself. It was maybe my first time I was telling the truth myself, and it sounded like music to me. And it was my awakening, which means I looked at my life and I looked at me from the other side. And what I saw, what I found out was fantastic. And of course, it hadn't a big scope like Buddha had, but it definitely was the change in my quality of mentality. So, spiritual awakening is the iceberg phenomenon. It is iceberg phenomenon because it may looks like we have separated cases where we have before and after, but it's not, because there is the big part of it under the water, the hidden part of it. And in my context, it may look like I had just inside and nothing else. But only I know how that could happen, and what I had and what I did while I was making it to happen. And in the context of Buddha, we see he was very cogitative and reasonant person all his life. And from the story I told, we see he was very reflective person. And it made him who he is till present days. And it was 2,500 years ago. So, spiritual awakening is the change in quality of mentality. And signs of spiritual awakening are the signs of the change in quality of mentality. And I would say the biggest sign of your spiritual awakening is your continuous work on your quality. It would be everything from car driving thinking to active form of learning, from meditation to reading books, everything that can help you to improve your quality of mentality. And your spiritual awakening is the work product. It is output, and spiritual it's your output of spiritual growth. And so in other words, you keep growing for some time, and then you get your spiritual awakening. It sounds very easily, and it is. It's long, but it's breathtaking performance. It's like scramble up a mountain. You work hard, you're tired, but it doesn't matter when you see that extremely beautiful view. So it's the same. And it's iceberg phenomenon. Because there is the hidden part of it. It's the spiritual growth. And the visible part of it, spiritual awakening. So it is the rule of life. And look at any successful sportsman. She or he works for a long time, only a couch knows how long, and we don't see it. Because it's not interesting. It just works, there's no performance. And we see the result. And the visible part of it. The winnings, the top of the iceberg, what is it? It is success. And spiritual awakening is the spiritual success. And it is iceberg phenomenon. Because it's like, spiritual growth. Your progressive improvement of your quality of mentality is the main sign of your spiritual awakening. And what is spiritual awakening? What is it in reality? I hope you know that we are, our planet and our universe, all of it consists of vibrations. And spiritual awakening is the change of your vibrational frequency. It's practically the same. The quality of mentality or your vibrational frequency, no matter how you call it, the change of it, positive change of it, is the spiritual awakening. And progressive improvement of your quality of mentality or your progressive improvement of your vibrational frequency it is steps, and spiritual awakening is the result. And spiritual awakening is the upward transition, high quality transition. And maybe if you have ever speak to somebody who is on high quality of his mentality or who has high vibrations, so you can just stand beside of him and feel it. You can feel something good, happiness, gladness, or something else. And it is also true of places, because on the earth are places where the vibrations are higher than in the other place. Why? Because in this place used to live somebody who had high vibrations, and the land remembers it, and since some time it gives it back. And honestly speaking, I know one of this place. So you can be just in this place, and if you feel how strong this place is, it helps you to grow. And I know one of this place, and I usually go there one time of the year in summer, and it's in 1 hour car driving from the city where I live. So I just arrive there and stay there for a few hours. Because now there's nothing, absolutely nothing, but couple of thousand of years ago there was the city, and it was the capital of this area. And in the city used to live holy man or a man of God or whatever you call it. So the land remembers his power, his spirituality, and now it gives it back, and you can feel it through the times. So this is it. And if you like this video, subscribe my channel to know more. And thank you. All the best.
I'm lying on grass, my eyes are closed. I'm dreaming all the time when we gotta know. Because I feel what you feel, but we still don't. I know we will, because we won't. I don't like long distance, but it is. I will allow our feelings, I know she sings. I seek long time, so we succeed. Long distance relationship, I'm already sick. Come closer, please, give me some sign. You have to believe, I have to rhyme. Why all of this happens, what is going on? Tell me what's wrong with me, don't tell me you can't. Why all of this happens? Why I need you so strong? Do you really care? Why the distance so long? I ask a lot of questions. I'm sorry I don't wanna be rude, and I hope I'm not wrong. Why I know what you know, if we've never been met. Baby, we've been, but no one of us fell. Maybe yesterday we were walking in the street. I glanced at you once, then what you did, you smiled to me, but I didn't recognize. I noticed some glance, but I wasn't so wise. You've been watching me, really? And what did you see? Why I didn't see you? Because I wasn't free? Free of what? Why you didn't try talking to me? Because I'm not ready? And when I will be? Listen, you don't understand it. Situation is bad. I love you so much. Now I don't understand. Why, if you love me, you didn't say hi? Why you didn't come closer? What you mean that you tried? I say what I want only, and I don't see real things. What reality is? Why I don't see what's real? I'm sorry, I don't realize anything. I know only one thing. My life is so close.